Hey, what's up, mortals? It's Falaneko here with a new video for you. Welcome to Season 1, Part 9 of What If Izuku Was Majin. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin. Vomi couldn't take her eyes off the android speaking to the handman and portal person. Her mind was going all over the place and she wouldn't stop thinking about the red patch on its shoulder. The handman looked at the group intensely, grumbling under his breath as he looked over to the portal man. "Kirigiri, where is All Might?" The handman asked Kirigiri in annoyance. Kirigiri finished speaking with the android as he opened a portal for it to walk through. Kirigiri closed the portal as the android disappeared into it. He looked at the group of students and teachers and couldn't find All Might amongst them. "All I see is Eraserhead, 13, and those two brats that we're supposed to capture." "I don't know, Tamura. But just as long as 19 or one of us captures Vomi and that pink kid," Kirigiri said as he pointed towards Vomi and Izuku, "then the Jiro will be glad to help us more than just himself." "I don't care what the crazy doctor wants," Tamura angrily stated. "I could care less if they were dead or alive. I just want All Might here." Tamura scratched his neck intensely as the other villains were staring at them. Tamura noticed them staring and screamed out to kill the students and teachers besides Vomi and Izuku. Aizawa noticed that the villains stopped paying attention to the two main villains and turned to focus on the students. Aizawa told 13 to take the students and get help while he and Vomi held off the villains for them. 13 nodded as she guided the students toward the entrance while Aizawa prepared himself. When he turned back around to face the villains, he noticed that Vomi just stood there, frozen in fear. "Vomi, if there's something that you know, then you should say it now," Aizawa called out. Vomi heard Aizawa calling her name, breaking out of her trance, and looked towards Aizawa. She wanted to say what she knew about, but knew there wouldn't be enough time to say it. She looked at Aizawa with a worried expression. "I'm sorry, but I'll explain later," Vomi stated as she put herself in a stance towards the villains. She knew this would happen one day, but worried about the consequences afterwards. Aizawa looked back to the group of villains as he jumped down the stairs towards the villains with Vomi following pursuit. Multiple villains charged at them as they were getting ready to use their quirks. However, nothing happened due to Aizawa's using his quirk to stop them from using theirs. Vomi proceeded to kick the villains away from them. Aizawa and Vomi would switch their fighting styles for the different villains. They would use long-ranged abilities to prevent the villains from reaching them to close combat to push the villains away. The villains knew about Aizawa and his erasing quirk, but they didn't know who Vomi was or why she was important to be kept alive. Vomi wasn't paying any attention to the conversation or anything else, besides the two main villains standing there and watching them fight. 13 and the students neared the entrance gates but stopped when a purple portal opened in front of them. Kirigiri explained who they were and why the students shouldn't just leave yet. 13 tried to use her quirk to suck the villain up, but Bakugo and Kirishima charged towards the villain, while Izuku fired an energy ball at him. However, Kirigiri wasn't fazed by their attacks. He began to expand his portal around the students and formed into a giant dome. Some of the students escaped from being consumed by the dome, but the others were captured and warped around the facility. One of the students was Izuku. Izuku dropped out of a portal and landed in a forest area. He picked himself up and concentrated on sensing the energy around him. A few seconds passed, and Izuku learned that most of his classmates were dispersed throughout the different zones. Izuku sighed in relief, knowing that everyone was safe for the most part. "The portal guy separated everyone to pick us off one by one," Izuku thought. Izuku opened his eyes and made his way to the nearest zone to help his friends out. "I need to help out my friends." "What the?" Izuku stopped in his tracks as he heard branches snapping. He tried sensing the thing that was coming at him, but he didn't sense any energy humming off of it, as it wasn't human. Before Izuku could do anything, an energy blast was shot through the trees and cut off Izuku's arm. Izuku jumped back from whatever shot him. He was thanking the people that could use those blasts. He knew Vomi was capable of it, but she wouldn't fire at him. Maybe it was an invention that prevents people from sensing energy. Yet Izuku was able to sense the ball of energy. If he couldn't sense the thing that was coming towards him, but he could sense the energy ball, then what is it? Izuku could hear the branches getting closer to him and sounds becoming clearer and clearer. He noticed that the thing sounded mechanical and heavy. the enemy walked out of the trees, revealing itself to be the android that was speaking to the portal and hand guy. The android's eyes glowed for a second, then it spoke aloud in a mechanical voice.
Izuku Midoriya, 100% match.
19 said.
Objective, capture.
What the? Izuku thought. How did he know my name? And why does he want to capture me? And why couldn't I sense him? His mind was going all over the place as he wondered why he was a target. Izuku broke out of his thoughts only to find 19 in front of him, pulling him back, his fist, and punching through several trees. Izuku picked himself up and launched several energy blasts at 19. The android put his arm up to defend him from the blasts. This gives Izuku a chance to charge at him and unleash a fury of kicks and punches. The kicks and punches toward the android were able to damage it, but not much. Izuku took notice of it and decided to back away and keep firing energy blasts back at the android, hoping it would distract the android long enough for him to escape him. But that failed as 19 grabbed a hold of his antenna and hit him like a paddle ball. With each hit, pieces of candy began to be flung around the area. 19 proceeded to toss Izuku on the ground and put his foot on him. Although his skin is stretchy and can take hits, he still can feel a bit of pain from the android. 19 took a piece of Izuku's skin, opened his head, and placed the piece inside of him. Izuku kept firing an energy blast at him to see if it would get him off, but it only caused 19 to grab his arms, making sure that he doesn't fire any more energy blasts. 19 took his eyes off Izuku for a bit as he looked off in another direction.
Vomijiro, nearby.
19 said as he looked beyond the trees.
Objective, retrieve.
Jiro, but he was destroyed along with the rest of the Red Ribbon Army. Izuku thought. And why did he say Jiro and Aunt Vomi's name? Unless... No, she can't be. Before he said anything to the android, Izuku started to feel the hunger and hear the laughter surrounding him. Izuku reached out toward the nearest piece of candy and tried to grab it, but the candy was blasted by 19. Izuku looked up to see 19 smiling down at him. So, Izuku Midoriya, I want to see more of this devil form that you and Vomi have. Jiro said. Izuku was stunned to hear the voice of Jiro speaking to him. He wanted to say something to him, but everything started to go dark. And the only thing he heard was 19 laughing at Jiro's voice and the laughter of the creatures surrounding him. Izuku closed his eyes and a smile formed from ear to ear on him. Back with Vomi and Aizawa, the two heroes were still fighting against the villains and stared at main three that seemed to be the leaders of the attack. As they began to think, Aizawa couldn't stop thinking about Vomi's possible connection to the android and the other villains. Vomi, I need an explanation now, Aizawa said as he kicked a villain out of his way. Who are these people and do you know them? I said I'll explain whenever everyone's safe, Vomi said as she blasted another enemy away. Aizawa was getting annoyed with her avoiding the question. He used a scarf to pull her close to him and tighten it. Vomi! Aizawa screamed out. Do you know them? Vomi sighed as Aizawa quickly dropped her, kicked an enemy away from them, and looked toward Tamura. Vomi picked herself up and began to explain. I don't know who those three are, but White Android was created by the Red Ribbon Army. The Red Ribbon Army? Aizawa screamed out. I thought All Might and Monkey King took care of them a long time ago. There's more to the story, and I know that you won't stop until you get everything out of me. But let's focus on stopping them and saving the students, Vomi said. You better, Aizawa said. Aizawa ran towards Tamura, using a scarf to capture him, but Tamura grabbed it midair and stopped his elbow from hitting him. Tamura jokingly stated that they knew about Aizawa's weakness and how it won't work on Nomu. Aizawa felt his elbow was decaying from Tamura's fingertips. Vomi came in, kicking Tamura off Aizawa and fired an energy blast at him. But he called the Nomu to defend him. The Nomu took the blast, leaving a scar on him, but it healed quickly. Nomu, kill Aizawa and grab Vomi, Tamura said as the Nomu shrieked. The Nomu charged at the two at tremendous speed, grabbing Aizawa by the head and slamming him into the ground. Vomi put up her hand as the Nomu reached out its other hand toward. Vomi fired an energy blast directly at the Nomu's face, blinding it, causing it to let go of Aizawa. Vomi picked up an injured Aizawa and quickly jumped back from the monster. However, the blast didn't last long enough as the Nomu's vision returned and it jumped straight at them. She didn't know what to do next, but Mina came jumping in front of Vomi as she screamed at the top of her lungs, with her arm being coated in her own acid and pink lightning. Acidic smash! Mina throws the punch directly at Nomu's face with it screeching in pain. The Nomu grabbed its face in pain, trying to see where they are. Vomi looked up to see Mina standing with her arm bruised as Suyu and Mineta were running towards them. Kids! Take Aizawa away from here and find someplace safe! Vomi pointed towards Aizawa. Suyu and Mineta listened to Vomi, grabbing Aizawa, and made their way to the entrance. Everyone except Vomi and Mina. Vomi told Mina to go with Suyu, Mineta, and Aizawa, but Mina smiled back. I heard what you said, but I can't just leave you here by yourself, Mina stated. Vomi sighed and smiled at Mina. The entrance door burst open as All Might came running down the stairs and prepared a Delaware smash at Tamura. Tamura noticed All Might ready to punch him. Tamura called his Nomu over as it got in between him and All Might at the last second, the Nomu absorbing the punch and taking no effect from it. Not only that OFA didn't affect it, but that the creature absorbed his punch as well. All Might jumped back to Vomi and Mina and exchanged info about the Nomu and the villains. Vomi devised the plan to attack the Nomu and the villains. All Might told Mina that she should get out of there, but Mina stated that she would stand her ground and protect her friends. The heroes and enemies were at a stalemate, waiting for one of them to make a move on them. All Might readied his fist, Vomi charged up an energy blast, and Mina activated her acid. Everyone was about to attack until they stopped whenever something was launched high in the air and landing in front of them. Everyone besides Tamura was shocked to see a destroyed android 19. The body of 19 fired a vial straight at Kirigiri. Kirigiri opened a small portal for it, disappearing without a trace. However, they weren't worried about that now because Vomi and All Might knew that the only person that could have that kind of destructive power. Suddenly, everyone felt a sense of evil wash over them. Vomi turned her head to where the energy was coming from. Izuku stepped out of the forest with a smile reaching ear to ear, blacked out eyes and red pupils, and dark pink hair. Izuku pointed towards everyone, then sliced his throat, telling them that they wouldn't make it out alive. This video is sponsored by Grubhub. With more than 3,000 store locations, Grubhub offers on-demand convenience delivery across the country. You can search for restaurants by cuisine or location, quickly order food from the menu, and track your order from the app, all hassle-free and without any extra charges. Grubhub charges less than other food delivery services, allowing you to get the best value for your money. With Grubhub Plus, you can get free delivery prices for 10 meals every month on orders of $12 or more for only $9.99 a month. That's not all. You can use the code AFF25 to save 25% off your first mobile order of $15 or more. This code is for a limited time, so again, get 25% off your first mobile order of $15 or more. Now, if you use the code AFF25, check the link in the description. Thank you again to Grubhub for sponsoring this video. Izuku! Vomi screamed out. She quickly transformed into her Buu form and charged at Izuku. Izuku smiled as he charged at Vomi. Their fists clashed and caused a little shock wave. All Might and Mina noticed that the enemy was distracted with Vomi and Izuku and decided to charge at Nomu, and throwing a smash to defeat the Nomu. While Mina and All Might fight against Nomu, Vomi tries her best to stop Izuku. However, over time, she started to lose her ground against him. She would fight and learn to use abilities quicker than Izuku, but her body wasn't like Izuku's. His body could stretch out far distances along with unlimited stamina. Even if Vomi was conserving her energy, she was trying to find ways to put down the demon while watching her stamina. Vomi threw multiple kicks and punches to incapacitate Izuku, but Izuku would play it off like a joke. Without a nervous system, it was impossible to knock him out, so Izuku used it to his advantage. Vomi tried to jump away from Izuku, but Izuku stretched out his arm to grab Vomi's leg and throw her around like a rag doll until she couldn't move. Vomi placed herself on her knees and saw pink lightning forming on Izuku's antenna, pointed down at her. Izuku, I know you're in there! Vomi cried as tears fell on her face. Please, come back to me! Izuku smiled as he was ready to fire the beam, but was stopped when an explosion hit him in the back of the head. Izuku turned to see Kirishima and Todoroki rushing behind Bakugo, going to help with Mina against the Nomu, while Bakugo went straight towards Izuku to take him down. Todoroki froze the Nomu in place from the neck down, giving Mina time to coat her hand in acid and summon OFA. Mina jumps towards Nomu, breaking her leg and hitting Nomu directly in the brain. The Nomu screamed out in pain, then went silent. Everyone waited for it to heal, and it didn't. The Nomus didn't heal the brain, just stood there. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that one problem was done, and waited for the battle with Izuku, Vomi, and Bakugo to finish. Bakugo blasted around Izuku, hitting him in the face to blind him and moving out of the way from Vomi to push back Izuku. It wasn't doing much to him, but it did something to hold him back until they could think of a way to stop him. "Damn it, Deku! How could you let this thing control you?" Bakugo screamed out. "Miss Vomi, do you have any more of those sweets on you?" "No, I give them to Izuku. I thought the enemies wouldn't know about Izuku's other half." Vomi stated as she fired another energy blast at Izuku. "The best thing to do is incapacitate Izuku. Find an enemy, turn them into candy, and give it to Izuku." Vomi cupped her hand together, poured all her energy into a concentrated energy beam, and fired it directly at Izuku. As Bakugo pulled the pin on his gauntlet, a giant explosion shot towards Izuku. The blast hit him directly and caused a smoke cloud surrounding Izuku, giving Vomi and Bakugo a bit of breathing room. However, as the smoke cleared, it showed part of Izuku's body was torn apart. Bakugo laughed that he wasn't durable as he thought, but his words were immediately retracted back to him. The damage given to Izuku instantly healed and only made Izuku angrier, with steam coming out of his head. Izuku quickly inhaled as much air as he could and let out a powerful scream that reached throughout Japan and caused the USJ and surrounding buildings all around to crumble and fall. Everyone was running around everywhere, avoiding the falling debris of the dome. Once Izuku stopped screaming and the building stopped crumbling, Izuku fired multiple sweet beams at the heroes and villains. Everyone was dodging the beams the best they could. They could dodge them except for the Nomu, who got turned into candy. Mura screamed out that his Nomu was defeated by a piece of bubblegum. He ran towards to grab the Nomu, but was shot with a sweet beam. Kirigiri portals him and Candy Chimura out of the USJ, leaving only the heroes to face off against the pink demon. Vomi noticed the Candy Nomu. She ran over to grab it and ran towards Izuku. She asked Bakugo to blind Izuku so she could give the candy to him. Bakugo screamed as he blasted around Izuku and tried to blind him. Izuku was distracted by Bakugo and didn't pay any attention to Vomi jumping in front of him. Vomi grabbed Izuku by the head, shoving the candy down his throat. Izuku screamed out, pushing everyone away from him. Izuku was fighting against the demon. It seems it's taking a bit longer to take full effect, but it was working. Before Izuku gained consciousness, Buu had one final saying that stuck with everyone. "Buu will destroy all," Izuku said before falling to the ground. Vomi ran to Izuku, making sure he was back to normal. She concentrated on his energy and noticed the evil was slowly going down, but stuck around him. Finally, Izuku began to wake up to see everyone around him. Vomi hugged him, saying she was glad he was back to his normal self, except that his hair was still pink. But she was glad he was back. However, Izuku pushed her off of him and questioned her. "And Vomi, please tell me the truth," Izuku stated. "Do you know who Jiro is?" Everyone in the central plaza stood around her, wondering what Izuku was talking about. She sighed as she began to speak. "Yes, I know who Jiro is, because he was my husband." In an undisclosed location, Jiro and the masked man were speaking amongst each other about the attack on the heroes, until they heard Tamura throwing a tantrum about not killing All Might. So the masked man muted the call between them and Tamura's tantrum.
All Might is still alive. How unfortunate.
The masked man said in a disappointed tone. "Yes, it is," Jiro sarcastically said, picking up the vial and looking at it with a smile. "However, I got what I need to help your league even more."
I'm glad you got what you want, but it is sad that Tamura's plan didn't go well. But with this, he will destroy and rule over everything.
The masked man held his hand up in front of Jiro. He chuckled as a dark ball of energy formed, but Jiro wasn't afraid of what was happening to him.
And your little army won't be remembered.
I knew you would have betrayed me, so I decided to take precautions, Jiro said. The masked man was confused with what Jiro was saying, but didn't care due to his problems about disappearing, until someone grabbed and put him in a full Nelson. The masked man looked back to see a red-headed man wearing green armor holding on to him.
Enemy is captured,
16 said. The masked man was moving around, trying to break free from 16's grasp, but 16 wasn't budging an inch.
Breaking free is not optional.
Using your son to help you?
The masked man chuckled.
What a foolish thing to do.
He readied himself using one of his quirks on the father and son, but stopped when someone jammed his neck. The man turned around and saw a giant green bug man sticking his tail into his neck and began to drain his entire body. He's using both of his sons. The bug man laughed. The masked man was trying to use his quirk, but nothing happened. Instead, he felt his entire body beginning to drain. Bones, organs, everything. The last thing he heard was the laughter of Jiro and the bug man. Goodbye, all for one. Jiro laughed. He went over to the clothes of All for One and picked up his mask. Excellent work, 16. So, Jiro said as he patted his sons on the back and walked them to the screen, showing All Might, Mina, Izuku, and Vomi. With All for One gone, and both of you by my side, we'll make the world fear the Red Ribbon Army again. Thank you all for indulging yourself in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our patrons. Beauty Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Milas, Adam Zagil, Zill, Dabbeat03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I'd also like to thank all of our YouTube members. Toya Costa, Rob the King, Sith Lord 906, CF2364 and Knuckles, Remu Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Freer, and Demonized Fox. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us from today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.